on, and I'm not sure what happened. And I'm going to try to see if we can hear. So if you guys hop on, let me know. I have no idea what happened there, but we did not have any sound. So I'm just going to wait for somebody to jump back on. So guys, I'm here with Wild Donkey Ah. And I'm even trying to find my live right now, and I'm not even seeing it. Just waiting for people to jump on. We had a whole bunch of people on, and I had no sound. So now I'm just waiting for people to jump on, guys. And right now I'm going on to YouTube and I don't even see that I'm live right now. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So hopefully you guys find me. There was a bunch of people watching and then nobody could hear me. So I'm not sure what was happening with my microphone and my sound, but hopefully you guys can hear me now. And what we're going to talk about is if you're thinking about adopting a donkey, especially a wild one. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is I think a lot of people underestimate the wild donkey. And I would say that they're a little bit more like working with a wild deer. Their thought process and their reactions, it's a little bit more like a wild deer than it is what you would think about with a donkey. Hi, do you hear Dad coming? Do you hear those side by side? Huh? So happy Easter, everybody. Um, maybe you're like me and you've been working in the barn all day. That's what I've been doing. And Dan's been doing fence. Come on over here, girl. Because nobody's going to be able to see you if you stand back too far. There you go. Good job. Good job. All right. So this, guys, is Wild Donkey Ah. And she did not used to be this calm and mild. She used to be a lot more nervous, right? So that's the kind of stuff that I wanted to talk with you guys about today. So if you're thinking about adopting a wild donkey, let's talk about like what to expect and some of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. Now, the problems, they don't start later on, they start now with whatever you're doing. And so we want to make sure we can be prepared for what it really is like having a wild donkey. Where are you going? Do you want to see Dad? Yeah, we all love Dad. Okay. Okay. So now, wild donkeys, because they look like a domestic donkey, even though they are wild. Okay. So other than this tattoo that they have on the side of their neck, the rest of them, they just look like a donkey, right? And so people don't think about how they really react, and is closer to a deer and how they think and they respond. Now, mistakes that beginners make with this, the biggest one that I notice is expecting a bond too quickly. So when we first start working with the donkeys, it's common when you walk down to the barn that they get scared and run off. That's really common. So if you see that, don't panic. Just know that that's where their mind is at. Okay. Gentling, it doesn't mean an instant connection. And I think a lot of people get that. But what they don't get is just how long it really can take sometimes. Now, the other part of that is being consistent. When you're working with a wild donkey, she loves to lick my hand. When you're working with a wild donkey and you're gentling them, she hears a lot of stuff going around. When you're gentling them, we need to be super consistent with that because when they have a big slot of time off, then they're gonna regress, go back to being wild, right? Because they're still learning. They're learning that they can trust people. Now, Wild Donkey I brought her home in 2023, and so now she can have time off. She doesn't need to have training every single day to stay like she is now. But if I was working with any of the ones that I have in the gentling pen, we really want to stay consistent with daily interaction, at least interaction with them. Um, and that might go for like you might need to do that for 6 months or a year. It all depends on the donkey, and you'll test it like as you're going. Like maybe they have a day off, and then you notice, or they have 2 days or a week off, and then you notice that they've really gone backwards and they're nervous, like they were wild again. And that just tells you that they're not ready to have more time off yet. Okay, so be prepared to put in that time to help them really trust people. Now, understanding fear, people don't always realize this in the beginning, but come, when they come to us, now they changed where they're living at, and they're terrified. They're absolutely terrified. And because of that, you might notice them like wanting to jump through a fence or over a fence. Um, and little things can scare them that bad that they want to jump over or through a fence. Even Wild Donkey Ah did escape one time. And it was kind of funny. I was bringing trash outside and I looked down the driveway, and lo and behold, there was a donkey walking up our driveway. And I'm like, wow, somebody's donkey got out there on our property. And then I realized that that was Wild Donkey Ah. Now I could halter her, but just barely I could halter her. And we live off on the highway. I was terrified in that moment. And my son was home. So I had my son, I went and got a halter and had my son go get oats. Or no, I had my son go shut the gate at the end of the driveway. So that way she couldn't get out on the highway, right? Because that's our biggest fear, right? Is somebody getting hurt. And so I was able to catch her just being really calm when I walked up to her. So, like when she was caught and she was just barely gentled, if I had walked up to her fast, she totally would have taken off, right? But I was able to pause when I was approaching her. So, like if I start to get close and she starts to lean her head away, that's telling me that she's thinking about going. So, going slow and just be ready for that. That fear that they have is huge. Now, ironically, the day that she escaped, she like pushed underneath. So like the panel that's supposed to be upright, if this is the bottom, it was pushed out like this. So she got, I don't know how on earth she did it. And she was the only one out. Everybody else was still in the pen. But I had hung up hay bags to start getting them ready to be able to eat from a hay bag. And then we had high winds. So we had high winds. The hay bag was probably blowing around. And then somebody spotted a mountain lion in the area. So it could have been any of those reasons that she got scared and decided that she had to go. But that fear is real. And sometimes I think that people think about the wild donkeys and how donkeys freeze. So when they get nervous, they're going to freeze and not flee. But that's not the case with the wild donkey. They're so terrified, they totally want to get out of there. So even though a donkey will go to freeze mode quite a bit, they are not above going into flight mode. So just be ready for that. Let's see. So expectations. Remember, I brought Ah home in 2023. So having a donkey like this that's just calm and willing, it doesn't happen overnight. Now, like the first time that I brought her to an event, she had some time off. So I got her gentled and she was doing all the basic things. And then she had some time off while I was starting some other ones under saddle. And then I brought her to an event, like an obstacle course, and I just wanted to lead her through it. I wasn't going to ride her through it. But she froze. I couldn't get her to move at all. But now I can bring her places and I can take her trail riding. She will still freeze sometimes when she gets nervous, but I don't hold that against her. I just understand we're still working on trust being like unbreakable, right? And that trust will become unbreakable over time. I just have to have the right timing. So, timing is a huge part of gentling and training a donkey, and they really respect us more when we have good timing. So, the more we can work on that, and even I am working on that, like I'm always still working on that. The more we can have that, the better off we're going to be with having a donkey that's completely willing to trust us no matter what. And even if we have perfect timing, it's still going to be on their timeline, right? Because they have their own feelings. They're a thinking, living being, and they have feelings about what they see or smell or how we're treating them. Like maybe we think we're being fair, but maybe we're not being as fair as we thought. that we were, and they're going to tell us all of that stuff. Now, another one that you guys should think about is the requirements. Now, donkeys, they when you bring home a wild donkey, you need to have specific things like 400 square feet per animal. You need to have let's get back in the fence. You guys aren't here to see me. You're here to see the donkeys. So you need to have a 4.5 foot fence, and it has to be made from like something that's durable, right? We can't have like barbed wire or hot wire. And sometimes people are like, well, I saw a different wild donkey, like Oz in hot wire now. Now, why can Oz be in hot wire, but if you bring home a wild donkey, a brand new one, can't be in hot wire? It's because they haven't learned that yet. Okay? We have to help them be past their fear before we can put them in that kind of a fence. Okay? You want to smell my feet? She wants to smell my feet, guys. That's kind of silly, kind of funny. So later on, you could put your donkeys into different kind of environments and fencing. But when you first bring home a wild donkey, because they are likely to go running or pushing through a fence, they can't start off in that kind of a fence. Okay. Just looking at my notes so I can remember all the stuff I was going to talk about. Okay. So picking a donkey out. So let's say you're going to go pick out a donkey. Like I'm having an adoption event here, guys, on April 18th. So if you are in the area, or even if you want to do a long drive or fly in, come hang out with me, you guys. So on April 18th, I will be doing an adoption event along with some clinics, and the clinics are free. Um, and the clinics, you'll just watch me work with a wild donkey. Um, but when I'm picking one out personally, I pick on size. I don't pick out on anything else. But if you're looking for one to gentle and maybe it's your first time, I would look for one that maybe is taking some steps towards you. Okay. If they're taking a step towards you, they are they're curious, right? And we love curiosity because it helps us gentle. When they are already curious, that's like half the battle. That's what I'm still working with Wild Donkey Richard, is helping him be curious, along with some other ones. Now, if they are in the middle of the pen, those donkeys are pretty curious. If they're at the back of the pen, those donkeys are not curious. Now, I would still pick a donkey that's not curious, but I would understand that that donkey is going to take more time to get through to, right? And if the donkey, like wild donkey she was more not Valhalla, she was more nervous and she took more time to get through to. Here was kind of in the middle of the Golden Girls, and then Grace was pretty darn brave. So they're all a little bit different. And those were the first donkeys that I ever picked out. So I had no idea what to look for, but I was looking for size because I wanted to be able to use them for riding. Let's see here. I have more notes. Make sure you can see well the already talked about that. Okay, so every donkey is different, right? So this is stuff that people might not always realize. Sorry, I didn't mean to make this all bouncy. Okay, so working with some different donkeys, I have had some where Dan's like, that donkey's trying to kill you. So I was trying to use a rope to help him learn about feet. And he was like rearing up. He was so scared. So then I decided, what should I do to help? And I decided to really just slow down, right? Just slow down. Um, and he was not a mean donkey. He was just scared, right? I've had donkeys. I have some that are like so bold. Like there's one right now that we've kind of nicknamed Lord Farquaad because he tries to boss around all the other animals, even if they're not in the pen with him. And and he's kind of little, just like Lord Farquaad was on the cartoon. Some are very timid. Once you get their trust, though, you have it. But it does take time. It takes time for us to gain their trust, and it takes good timing on our part to earn that trust. Okay. So all of that takes time and timing. Let's see. Successes. Oh my gosh. So Wild Donkey she used to completely freeze when we would go somewhere. And I remember the first time I brought her, it didn't matter if I used oats or if I used pressure or if I gave her time, all of it, she just took forever. All of her friends are in the pasture behind. Last week, I tried to show you guys like a little video of those guys back there, but once I'm back that far, I lose cell phone service. So I can't show you back there right now. Um, so the first trip, she completely froze and we couldn't really do hardly anything. And the second trip, we got some of the obstacles done, not all of them, but I don't expect her to do all of them yet. I just want to see progress. I want to see that she's willing to try and work with me. And then I know where my holes are in training. And right now, my hole in training is having her trust no matter what, right? So that's just something I'm going to keep working on. Um, Richard, oh my gosh. So I've been working with Richard since December, and today, before I came up here, I got a halter on him. Now I put it through the hole. You know how you got the part here that you put through? I got it through that. I haven't actually tied it yet, but you know, he was like kind of nervous about the noise and that. So I helped him not be nervous about the noise. And with him, I'm not using any oats because he does not eat from my hand. So all of this is just with releasing the pressure when he finds the right answer. So I have been working with him a ton, and I'm so happy that I have his halter on. He has really taken a long time, and he still doesn't show curiosity. Well, he shows a little bit, but his curiosity is different than walking towards me. Like he's never walked right up to me. He'll take a step or two towards me, but that's it. She's now licking my shoe, you guys. You are so weird, Aw. You are so weird. Does everybody know how weird you are? But I love her. She's so awesome. All right, so let's see. What other kind of like successes? Gentling really old donkeys. I have gentle donkeys that are like 23. I have one now that's 25. She's licking my shoe again. Hopefully you guys can kind of see it. Just a weirdo. Um, Now the one that's 25, I'm not working with him. We just got him. So stay over here with me. We just got him. And I don't know if I'll be working with him or if somebody's going to adopt him at the adoption event. So we will see with time. So be prepared for your donkey to take the time that they need if you're going to adopt a wild donkey. Um, and if you would have saw in the beginning, she's so different than she is now. Like now she's looking at me. She also looks out in the pasture because she wants to know what her buddies are doing, but that's okay. So some donkeys are bold. That's how Grace got her name. She was like, by the grace of God, I can do anything. She was so brave. And you could see that pretty early on in her gentling. Bahala was really, really timid. That's how she got her name. Because we didn't know maybe if she wanted to bring us to see Bahala. Dan comes up with the names. I just love how creative he is. And then it's because she really, really loves attention. And remember, one session does not define a donkey. So when you're working with a donkey and you're going to have some days that are like super awesome and some days that are horrible, sometimes you could have a donkey that it feels like 50 first dates. And if you have that stuff happening, don't sweat it. That session doesn't define who your donkey is going to be. It just shows you where your holes are so you can keep working on stuff. Okay. Just like be patient with them and yourself because this is a process. It's a really long process. So you got to be ready for it. Now, if you guys are thinking about adopting a donkey, make sure you head over here for the April 18th adoption event. And I hope you guys are having a great Easter. Okay. Um, I've been having a great Easter. Hannah's out of town, so it's just Dan and I at home today, and he's doing fence, getting ready to bring home more donkeys. And I've been gentling donkeys. So, and making progress. Like I'm happy with the progress that I'm making and getting curiosity out of some of them that haven't had it in the past. Hey, baby girl, you're such a good donkey. You're such a good donkey. I love you so much. Yes. All right, guys. I hope you have a great day. We'll be back next Sunday, and nobody has hopped on yet. So hopefully you guys can hear this one. And again, I appreciate you guys to the moon and back. Thank you to all of my members. There's some members that are like supporting what I do. You guys are amazing. And then other members, we have like extra videos where I'm breaking down my thought processes more and helping you understand why I make the choices that I make. All right, guys, you guys have a great day and thanks for joining Ah and I.